I walked out of work to an empty parking spot. My 2023 Camry just paid off, was gone. I called my parents panicking. "Oh, honey, relax. We gave it to Elena. She needs it more." My sister had totaled 3 cars in 5 years. This was my first new car ever. I hung up and dialed 911. I stood in that parking garage staring at the oil stain where my car had been for 11 months, phone shaking against my ear as the dispatcher asked what my emergency was. "My car's been stolen." I gave her the make, the model, the plate. Then my mother's words caught up to me and my stomach turned. I told the dispatcher to hold on and hung up on her too. My hands were doing that thing where they don't feel like mine. I'd worked doubles for 2 years to afford that Camry. No cosigner, no help. I made the last payment in March and cried in my apartment alone because nobody in my family thought it was worth celebrating. And now it was just gone, handed to Elena like a set of hand-me-down clothes. I called my mother back. "Did you take my car with a spare key? We're your parents. We had a key made when you bought it, for emergencies. This isn't an emergency, this is theft." She laughed, that soft, dismissive laugh I'd heard my whole life. "Don't be dramatic, family shares. Elena lost her license and her car and she has the kids to think about. You take the bus. You've always been the responsible one." I asked her, calm as I could manage, to bring my car back tonight. She said no. She said Elena needed it more and that I was being selfish, and that if I kept acting crazy, they'd rethink helping me with anything ever again. Then she hung up. Here's what my mother didn't know. When I bought that Camry, the finance guy at the dealership walked me through everything twice because I was a first-time buyer and nervous. He told me to register the car in my name only, keep every document, and photograph the VIN. I did all of it. The title had my name on it and only my name. The insurance was mine. The loan had been mine. Now paid, lien released, in writing. I had a folder. I always have a folder. I sat in the stairwell of that garage and I did not cry this time. I called the non-emergency police line and explained the situation properly. The officer asked whether the people who took it had legal ownership. "No," I said. "The title is in my name. I have it right here. They used a key they made without my knowledge." He asked if I wanted to report it. I thought about Elena in my car, driving my kids' nieces and nephews around, my mother telling everyone how generous the family was. I thought about 3 totaled cars and never once a consequence. "Yes," I said, "I want to report it." The officer took everything down and told me to email the title, the registration, the loan payoff letter, and a copy of my ID. I sent them from the stairwell before I even stood up. 2 days later, my sister called me screaming. The police had come to her apartment. They'd verified the VIN against the title I sent. The car was registered solely to me, reported taken without consent, and they told her she had to surrender it or face charges for possession of a stolen vehicle. "How could you do this to family?" she shrieked. "Mom said it was fine. Mom gave it to me. Mom doesn't own the car." I said, "I do. It's on paper." She kept screaming, so I hung up. My mother called next, then my father, then my mother again, a dozen times. Voicemails going from furious to pleading. "You're tearing this family apart over a car. You'd do this to your own sister and her children. Call the police and tell them it was a misunderstanding." I didn't. I drove to the impound lot in a rental with my folder on the passenger seat. The clerk looked at the title, looked at my ID, and slid a clipboard across the counter. My Camry was in the back, a fresh dent already in the rear bumper from 2 days in Elena's hands. 11 months and she'd already marked it. I signed for it and drove it home in silence. My parents didn't speak to me for a month. When my mother finally called, it wasn't to apologize. It was to tell me Elena needed help with a down payment on a used car now, and wouldn't I chip in since I clearly had money. I told her I'd learned everything I know about paperwork from the same dealership that saved my car, and I hung up. I changed the locks on my apartment that weekend, and I took the spare key I never knew existed off my parents' ring the next time they demanded it back. My Camry sits in a covered spot now, under a cover, with a wheel lock and a tracker I installed myself. I keep the title in a fireproof box, not the glove box. Some people, you learn, will make a key to anything you love.